Welcome, everyone, to a story that transcends mere headlines. A story about betrayal, resilience, and the astonishing power of a woman scorned who chose to rebuild not just her life, but an empire of hope for others. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear isn't just a tale of revenge. It's a masterclass in reclaiming power, redefining self-worth, and turning the ashes of betrayal into a blazing beacon of independence. Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching, soul-crushing moment where your entire world, built on years of trust and sacrifice, crumbles before your eyes? Imagine dedicating your life, your dreams, your very identity to someone else's success, only to discover their true colors are not just faded, but rotten to the core. This is where our story begins, in the opulent silence of a billionaire's home, where a woman named Keisha was about to face the ultimate betrayal. Kesha, a woman of formidable intellect and drive, once navigated the cutthroat world of corporate marketing with the grace of a seasoned warrior. She was a vice president at a major tech company, building her own fortune, forging her own path, a testament to what ambition and hard work could achieve. Then Marcus entered her life. He wasn't just wealthy from his family's business. He was charismatic, persuasive, and utterly captivating. He wove a seductive narrative of a shared future, painting a picture where Keisha wouldn't need to strive so hard. He promised her a life of comfort, a focus on family, and the freedom to pursue her passions, like charity work, without the demands of a corporate career. It was a dream whispered into her ear, a siren song that lured her away from her own thriving career. She stepped down, traded her power suits for domestic duties, and became the quintessential trophy wife, the silent partner in his booming success. She hosted lavish dinner parties for his business associates, curated charity events that burnished his public image, and meticulously managed their household, all to free him to accumulate more wealth. She made Marcus her world, believing implicitly in the sanctity of their 8-year marriage, in the strength of their bond. She believed he valued her sacrifice, her unwavering support. Then came the footage. Not a grainy, indistinct shot, but a crystal-clear, high-definition recording from a security camera. There they were, Marcus, her husband, and Tanya, her best friend, locked in a fervent embrace in his office. The very office where Keisha had once delivered his Tuesday lunches, the very desk where they had celebrated their anniversary just months prior. The timestamp, 3:47 p.m. last Thursday, burned itself into Keisha's mind. She had been at home that day, preparing for his mother's birthday dinner, oblivious, trusting, and utterly deceived. This wasn't a momentary lapse, a drunken mistake. This was a sustained, calculated deception. The private investigator had laid it all out for her. Photos, hotel receipts, phone records, a meticulously documented chronicle of Marcus and Tanya's affair, stretching back over a year. The worst part wasn't just the betrayal itself, the infidelity, the broken vows. It was the crushing realization of how profoundly foolish she had been, how blindly she had walked into their trap. All those late nights at the office, Marcus claimed, all those business trips, all those dinners where Tanya had sat across from her, laughing, sharing confidences, acting the part of a loyal friend. They had been mocking her behind her back, living a parallel life of deceit right under her nose. Imagine the emotional earthquake this kind of revelation triggers. It's not just anger, it's a deep, existential shock. Your sense of reality is shattered. Every shared glance, every intimate moment, every promise suddenly feels tainted, recontextualized as a cruel joke. The beautiful bedroom she had decorated with such love, the sprawling house she had painstakingly transformed into a home, now felt like a stage for their elaborate lies. Kesha closed her laptop, the digital evidence of her shattered life staring back at her. She gazed at the wall, a blank canvas upon which her future now seemed equally blank. The door opened, and Marcus walked in, his expensive suit still perfectly tailored, his phone pressed to his ear, his voice smooth and commanding as he finalized a business deal. He was completely oblivious, cocooned in his world of wealth and deceit, unaware that his carefully constructed edifice was about to collapse. "Hey, baby, sorry I'm late. Traffic was crazy downtown," he said, offering the same smile that once made her heart race, now churning her stomach. The normalcy of it all was sickening. The casual lie, the routine unbuttoning of his shirt, the assumption that life would continue as usual. Keisha said nothing, her silence a prelude to the storm. She watched him, etching this moment into her memory. The last time he would look at her without fear, the final breath of his false reality. "You okay? You seem quiet tonight," he asked, a flicker of something akin to concern, but mostly just a casual observation. He didn't really see her anymore. He saw an extension of himself, a useful ornament. He had grown comfortable taking her for granted, careless with his lies, confident in his secret life. And it was that very carelessness that would cost him everything. Kesha's soft, "I'm fine," belied the hurricane brewing within her. Marcus, ever oblivious, shrugged. "Good. I have an early meeting tomorrow, so I'll be leaving around 6. Another lie. She knew, thanks to the investigator, that his early meeting was breakfast with Tanya at their favorite hotel, their clandestine rendezvous spot for the past year. "Of course you do," Kesha replied, her voice soft, but with an undertone Marcus finally seemed to pick up on. He looked at her. Really looked at her. Something in her tone, the way she was coiled, knees to chest, a broken woman in appearance, must have pierced his shield of complacency. "Are you sure you're okay? You've been acting strange all week." All week. That was the crucial detail. 3 days since she received the devastating report. 3 days she had spent not just grieving, but meticulously planning. She delved into every detail of Marcus and Tanya's affair, remembering the sharp, ambitious woman she had been before Marcus, the woman she had sacrificed. She was planning their destruction. "I'm perfect," she said. And for the first time in years, she meant it. She was about to become perfect again, perfect, powerful, and utterly free. Marcus, still clueless, retreated to the bathroom for his shower. 15 minutes. That's all Keisha needed. She reopened her laptop and sent one final cryptic email. "It's time. Everything is ready. Tomorrow at 9:00 a.m. sharp." The response was immediate. "Understood. We'll be ready on our end." A chilling smile spread across Kesha's face. Not a nice smile, but the fierce, unyielding grin of a woman pushed too far, ready to reclaim her narrative. They had no idea who they were dealing with. They had mistaken her quiet support for weakness, her loving sacrifice for naivete. She had given up her career for love, her ambitions for his success, made herself small so he could feel big. But she had never forgotten how to fight. She had just been choosing not to. That choice was over. The morning arrived, crisp and cold, mirroring the steel in Keisha's resolve. She woke an hour before Marcus, listening to his peaceful breathing, a fragile sound that would soon be shattered. She hadn't slept much, yet she felt more awake, more alive than she had in years. At 6:00 a.m., Marcus's alarm went off. He groaned, stretched, a creature of habit. His predictability, once comforting, was now his vulnerability. Predictable people, Keisha knew, were easy to destroy. His morning kiss, a routine gesture, felt like ice against her skin. How many times had he kissed her goodbye before going to another woman? How had he looked her in the eyes? "Have a good meeting," she said, her voice steady, the tremor gone. She had found her center again, the strength of the woman who built her own empire, not merely supported another's. He moved through his morning ritual. Shower, shave, coffee, phone, always the phone, probably reading messages from Tanya, planning their day while his wife sat across the breakfast table they had picked out together. "I might be late tonight," he mumbled, eyes still glued to the screen. "This new client is demanding a lot of attention." "New client?" Kesha almost laughed at his pathetic attempt at a lie. "Take your time," she said instead. "I have plans today anyway." That got his attention. Marcus looked up, surprised. Keisha never had plans. She had systematically pruned her friendships, abandoned her hobbies, pouring all her energy into being the perfect wife. She had made Marcus her entire world, isolating herself, another mistake she would never repeat. "Plans? What kind of plans?" he asked, curiosity piqued. "Just some things I need to take care of." She sipped her coffee, gazing out at their perfect neighborhood, their perfect house. By sunset, none of it would be theirs. Marcus, ever self-absorbed, shrugged off her vague answer, uninterested in her burgeoning independence. He finished his coffee, grabbed his briefcase, and called out, "Love you," an automatic, meaningless phrase that once meant everything. "Goodbye, Marcus," she said, sealing the end of an era he didn't yet know was over. The front door closed. She listened until the sound of his car faded completely. Then she walked upstairs and opened her closet. Deep in the back, behind the designer dresses Marcus had bought, lay her true self. Her old business suit fit perfectly, the sharp black blazer that had commanded silence in boardrooms, the heels that clicked with authority down corporate hallways, the briefcase that had carried million-dollar contracts. She had packed these away when she became Mrs. Marcus Thompson, but she had never thrown them out. A part of her, deep down, had always known she might need them again. Looking in the mirror, she saw Keisha Williams, the woman who built her own success from nothing, who needed no one to take care of her, who had walked away from everything once before and was about to do it again. Her phone buzzed. "In position, waiting for your signal." She typed back, "Give me 30 minutes." With her meticulously prepared file in hand, she descended the stairs. The house felt different now, smaller, less significant, a mere collection of expensive things that were never truly hers. She walked through each room one last time, memories of cherished dreams, of charming business partners, of believing they were building a life together, now tainted by the stark reality of his deception. All of it had been a lie. All of it had been her giving, him taking, while he reserved his real love for someone else. Now it was time for him to give back. She drove downtown, not to a new beginning, but to a return. The building where she once worked, before she gave it all up for love, loomed before her. The marble floors, the glass elevators, the hum of serious business. She had missed this world, missed being part of something larger than one man's life. The elevator whisked her to the 42nd floor, to Bennett Rodriguez and Associates, the best lawyers in the city, the people who would help her reclaim everything stolen from her. "Mrs. Thompson," the receptionist greeted her. "They're waiting for you in conference room A." Kesha merely nodded, her heels clicking with renewed authority. She wasn't Mrs. Thompson anymore. She was Keisha Williams, and Keisha Williams did not let anyone walk all over her. Inside, 3 formidable figures awaited. Sarah Bennett, the lead attorney specializing in high-asset divorces, Michael Rodriguez, the corporate law guru, and Detective Lisa Parker, a financial crimes expert who owed Keisha a favor. Kesha took her place at the head of the table. "Are we ready?" she asked. "Everything is in place," Sarah confirmed. "The divorce papers are prepared. The asset freeze goes into effect at 10:00 a.m. The forensic accountant has reviewed all financial records. And the other matter?" Keisha looked at Detective Parker. "The evidence you gave us was more than enough. We'll be making arrests this afternoon." Kesha pulled out one final document. Marcus's signature at the bottom, placed there just 6 months ago, during a moment of profound, self-congratulatory pride over a new business partnership. He had signed it without reading the fine print, so eager to expand his empire, he'd given Kesha signing authority on all major decisions, legal and binding. The lawyers around the table smiled. They had pored over this document repeatedly. It was ironclad. Marcus had unknowingly handed her the keys to his kingdom. "So," Keisha began, a chilling calm in her voice, "when the divorce goes through and I claim my 50% of all assets, I'll also have the authority to sell my share to whoever I choose." She paused, letting the implication hang in the air. "And I choose to sell it to his biggest competitor for exactly $1. A brief silence, then Michael Rodriguez burst into laughter. "His own greed destroyed him. This is beautiful." Detective Parker leaned forward. "What about the woman? Tanya Morris?" Keisha's voice was icy now. "She'll lose her job when we expose the embezzlement. She'll face criminal charges for stealing from the company. And she'll learn what it feels like to watch someone you love get destroyed." "The embezzlement charges will stick?" Sarah asked. "Oh, yes," Keisha confirmed. "Tanya's been stealing from the company for months. Small, consistent amounts, thinking she was clever. But I tracked every transaction. She used company funds to pay for her dates with my husband, hotel rooms, expensive dinners, jewelry. all of it paid for with stolen money. Detective Parker whistled. That's felony theft. She's looking at serious prison time. Good, Kesha concluded, closing her briefcase. They destroyed my life for their pleasure. Now they get to watch their lives get destroyed for mine. She gazed out the conference room window, a panoramic view of the city. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably having breakfast with Tanya, planning a future that had just been irrevocably canceled. When do we begin? She asked. Sarah checked her watch. The papers are being served in exactly 15 minutes. By noon today, Marcus Thompson will have lost everything. Keisha smiled. It was time to remind the world who she really was. At precisely 9:00 a.m., Kesha's phone rang. She was in her car, parked discreetly across from Marcus's office building. She had no intention of ever going back to him. That chapter was closed, sealed by an unforgivable betrayal. The call was from Sarah Bennett. It's done. The papers have been served. Security cameras show he got them at his desk about 2 minutes ago. Keisha looked up at the glass facade of the building. Somewhere on an upper floor, Marcus was reading the documents that would obliterate his world. Somewhere up there, he was realizing his quiet, supportive wife had just declared war. How long before the asset freeze takes effect? Keisha asked. 10 minutes. At 9:15, every account, every investment, every piece of property will be frozen, pending divorce proceedings. He won't be able to move a single dollar without court approval. Keisha glanced at her watch. 9:05 a.m. In 10 minutes, Marcus would try to access his funds and find them locked. In 10 minutes, his comfortable life would begin to unravel. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number. Emergency. Something terrible is happening. Call me right away. It was Tanya's personal phone, the one she'd used for countless illicit messages to Marcus. The panic was palpable. News traveled fast in business circles. The divorce was likely already a whisper turning into a roar throughout the company. Keisha deleted the message. Tanya would have to solve her own problems now. In a few hours, she'd have far bigger worries than Marcus's divorce. At 9:10, Marcus called. Keisha, what the hell is this? His voice was a volatile mix of rage and confusion. These papers, this can't be real. You can't be serious about this. I'm completely serious, she responded, her voice unnervingly calm. I want a divorce, Marcus. I want out of this marriage, and I want my fair share of everything we built together. But why? What brought this on? We can talk about this, baby. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. The word baby made her stomach clench. How many times had he used that same saccharine voice to manipulate both her and Tanya? There's nothing to fix, she stated. This marriage is over. My lawyer will handle everything from now on. Your lawyer, Kesha? You're scaring me. This isn't like you. You don't make big decisions without talking to me. Something must be wrong. Are you having some kind of breakdown? A breakdown? Of course he'd think that. He had so comfortably pigeonholed her as the weak, dependent wife that he couldn't fathom her capable of such decisive, strategic action. He had forgotten the powerful woman she once was. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years, she said. Goodbye, Marcus. She hung up, silencing his protests. Her phone immediately began to ring again, but she simply turned it off. Their communication would now be through legal channels. At 9:15 a.m., the asset freeze took effect. Kesha's bank app notified her. The joint accounts were now under her primary control, pending divorce. Marcus couldn't touch a penny. She drove across town to Tanya's expensive apartment building, not to confront her, but to witness. She wanted to see the chaos, to gauge if Tanya would handle betrayal better than she had. Tanya's apartment was in a high-end downtown area, far beyond what her company's salary should allow, a clear testament to stolen funds or a rich boyfriend. At 10 a.m., Detective Parker's unmarked car, followed by 2 police cruisers, pulled up. Keisha watched from across the street as officers entered the building. 20 minutes later, Tanya emerged in handcuffs, her perfectly styled hair disheveled, her expensive clothes wrinkled. She looked small, scared, utterly unprepared for her world to crumble. It was exactly how Keisha had felt 3 days ago. Now it was Tanya's turn. Another notification from Sarah Bennett. Second phase complete. Target arrested on embezzlement charges. Bond hearing set for tomorrow. Kesha drove to her next destination, Hartwell Industries, Marcus's biggest competitor, a company that had coveted Thompson Industries for years. They were about to get everything they wanted for $1. James Hartwell, a tall man with kind eyes and a reputation for building his empire through hard work, greeted her. "Mrs. Williams," he said, using her maiden name, "your proposal was quite unexpected." "Call me Kesha," and I'm sure it was, but business is business, right? He smiled. "Indeed. I've reviewed the partnership agreement. Everything appears to be in order. You do have the legal authority to sell your share, and we are prepared to buy it for $1, as you suggested." "Absolutely, though I have to ask, why so little? Your 50% stake is worth millions," Hartwell pressed. Kesha looked out his office window at Marcus's distant building, likely a maelstrom of chaos. "Because this isn't about money," she said. "This is about justice. Marcus destroyed my life for his pleasure. Now I'm returning the favor." Hartwell nodded slowly. "He hurt you badly." "He did. And now he's going to learn that actions have consequences." "What about the employees?" he asked, a concern that had weighed on Kesha. "There are over 200 people." "I thought about that," she admitted. "I want your promise that you'll keep as many employees as possible. The only people who should lose their jobs are Marcus and anyone who helped him betray me." "You have my word," Hartwell affirmed. "Most of those employees are good people who deserve better leadership anyway." The deal was struck. Kesha signed Kesha Williams, not Thompson. She was done being defined by his name. "There's one more thing," Hartwell added. "We'll need to verify that the sale is legal since the assets are currently frozen." "The asset freeze only applies to Marcus," Kesha explained. "I still have the right to sell my own property. My lawyer is standing by if you need confirmation." "Excellent. This should be finalized by close of business today." Kesha shook his hand and left. It was only 11 o'clock a.m., and she had utterly dismantled her husband's life. His wife had left him. His lover was in jail. His business was about to belong to his enemy. She felt lighter than she had in years, free, powerful, like the woman she used to be before she made the mistake of trusting someone undeserving. Her phone buzzed with a message from Tanya's sister. "Please call me. Marcus is losing his mind. He's saying crazy things about getting you back. He thinks you'll forgive him if he just explains everything. He doesn't understand that it's over." Kesha texted back. "Tell him I said goodbye. That's the only explanation he's getting." By noon, Marcus had called her 47 times. Kesha had turned her phone back on just to count the missed calls, each one more desperate, more frantic than the last. She didn't listen to the voicemails. She could imagine them. "I love you. I can explain. We can work it out." But it was all meaningless. She was done with his lies. During lunch at her favorite downtown restaurant, Sarah Bennett called. "The business sale is complete," Sarah announced. As of 20 minutes ago, Hartwell Industries owns 51% of Thompson Industries. Marcus is no longer in control of his own company. "How did he find out?" Kesha asked, calmly cutting into her salad. "James Hartwell called him directly to inform him of the change in ownership. I'm told he screamed so loud the entire office could hear him." Kesha smiled. Marcus had likely never faced such public humiliation, his family money and charm usually shielding him from consequences. This was his reckoning. What about Tanya? Bond was denied. The judge said she was a flight risk. She'll be sitting in jail until her trial. "Good," Kesha said, taking a sip of wine. "What's next?" "Marcus has hired David Chin as his divorce attorney. He's going to fight this hard." David Chin was the state's best divorce lawyer, known for protecting rich men's assets. Marcus was pulling out all stops. "Let him fight," Kesha declared. "We have the partnership agreement. We have evidence of his affair. We have documentation of every asset. He can hire whoever he wants, but the law is on our side." "There's something else," Sarah continued. "Chin is claiming you tricked Marcus into signing the partnership agreement. He's saying you manipulated him." Kesha laughed. "I manipulated him? I was the one who suggested he read the fine print before signing. I was the one who told him to have his lawyer review it. He was too arrogant to listen." "Can you prove that?" "There were witnesses at the signing, his business partner, his secretary. They all heard me tell him to read it carefully." "Perfect. Chin's strategy won't work if we can prove Marcus ignored good advice." After lunch, Keisha drove to her old neighborhood, where she'd lived before Marcus, when she was building her own life. The apartment was small compared to the mansion, but it was hers, completely hers. She had kept it all these years, telling Marcus it was an investment property. In truth, it was her safety net. A deep, instinctual part of her had always known that complete dependence was dangerous. It was exactly as she had left it, clean, simple, comfortable. After 8 years surrounded by Marcus's opulence, the simplicity felt like coming home. She sat on the couch and finally listened to one of Marcus's voicemails. "Keisha, baby, please call me back. I know you're upset, but we can fix this. Whatever you think I did, we can work it out. I love you so much. You're my whole world. Please don't throw away 8 years of marriage over a misunderstanding." Misunderstanding. A year-long affair with her best friend, paid for with stolen money, was a misunderstanding. She deleted it. The next message: "I fired her, okay? I fired Tanya. She doesn't work for me anymore. It's over between us, I swear. It meant nothing. Keisha, you're the only woman I've ever really loved. Please come home so we can talk about this." He fired Tanya after she was arrested. How noble, how utterly self-serving. The third message was different, angrier. "This is insane, Keisha. You're destroying everything we built together, everything I worked for. You can't just take half my company because you're mad about some stupid mistake. I made one error in judgment, and you're trying to ruin my entire life. This isn't fair." There it was. The real Marcus. Not the pleading husband, but the entitled rich man, furious that someone dared to challenge him. This was the man she had truly been married to all along. She deleted the remaining messages without listening. She had heard enough. Her doorbell rang at 4:00 p.m. Through the peephole, she saw Marcus, desperate and exhausted, his expensive suit wrinkled, hair messy. This was likely the worst day of his privileged life. "I know you're in there," he called. "Your car is in the parking lot. Please just talk to me for 5 minutes. Let me explain what happened." Keisha remained silent on the couch. "I love you," he cried, his voice breaking. "I know I made a mistake, but I love you so much. Tanya meant nothing to me. It was just physical. It didn't mean anything. Just physical." As if that excused anything. As if cheating was acceptable if it lacked emotional depth. "Please, Keisha, I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll quit the business. Whatever you want. Just please don't leave me." She almost laughed. He'd quit the business he no longer controlled. How generous to offer what he had already lost. "I can't live without you," he pleaded. "You're everything to me. Please don't throw away our marriage over one stupid mistake." One mistake. A year-long affair was a momentary lapse in judgment. After an hour, he finally left, shoulders shaking, probably crying. Good. She had cried enough. Now it was his turn. Her phone rang again, but it was her sister, Carmen, from California. "Girl, what is happening over there? I just saw the news online. Marcus Thompson's company was sold, and some woman named Tanya was arrested." Carmen, the only family Keisha had left, had always distrusted Marcus, calling him too smooth, too charming, too good to be true. She had been right. "I left him," Keisha stated simply. "About damn time. What did he do?" "He cheated on me with Tanya for over a year." Carmen was silent. "With your friend Tanya? The one who used to come to dinner?" "Yes, that bastard." "I'm sorry, sis. I know you loved him." "I did, but I'm done loving people who don't love me back." "Good for you! And you took half his business." "I took what was legally mine. He signed the papers that gave me the right to do it." Carmen laughed. "You always were smarter than him. He just never realized it." "No, he didn't. He thought I was just the pretty wife who would never cause any trouble. His mistake." "So what's next?" "I'm going to rebuild my life. My real life, not the fake one I was living with him." "Need any help? I can fly out there tomorrow." "No, I'm okay. I need to do this myself." After hanging up, Keisha made herself dinner, planning her next steps. The divorce would take months, but the hardest part was done. Marcus's business was destroyed, Tanya was in jail, and she was free. Tomorrow, she would start looking for a new job. 8 years out of the workforce was daunting, but her skills and connections remained. She would rebuild her career from scratch if she had to. A text from Marcus. "I'm not giving up on us. I'll wait as long as it takes for you to forgive me. I love you." She blocked his number and went to bed in her own apartment, in her own bed, for the first time in 8 years. She slept better than she had since before the affair came to light. The morning news was saturated with stories about Thompson Industries. Local company sold in surprise deal. Businessman loses control of family empire. Corporate takeover shocks business community. Marcus's humiliation was public, broadcast across the city. Keisha watched the coverage over coffee in her simple kitchen. Reporters called it a hostile takeover, oblivious to the fact that the man's own wife had orchestrated his downfall. Her phone rang at 8:00 a.m. Sarah Bennett again. Marcus's lawyer filed an emergency motion to stop the divorce proceedings. He's claiming you're mentally unstable and not capable of making major decisions. Mentally unstable? Kesha laughed. That's his strategy? It's a desperate move. He's trying to have you declared temporarily incompetent so he can regain control of the assets. Will it work? Not a chance. We have documentations of your meticulous planning, your meetings with lawyers, your business decisions. You've been functioning perfectly. If anything, you're more competent now than you've been in years. Keisha agreed. She felt sharper, more focused, more herself than ever. Leaving Marcus was like waking from a long dream. There's a court hearing this afternoon, Sarah continued. You'll need to appear before the judge. I'll be there. At 10:00 a.m., she visited the unemployment office. It was humbling to stand in line, knowing she had chosen to leave her career. Yet it was also liberating. She was starting completely over, building a new life on her own terms. The sympathetic woman behind the counter noted, 8 years out of the workforce is a long time, but you have good experience. Marketing VP is impressive. I hope someone will still want to hire me. Honey, with your background, you'll be fine. Might take a few months to find the right position, but you'll find something. From there, she updated her resume at the library. It felt strange listing accomplishments from so long ago, but seeing them reminded her of who she had been. A leader of million-dollar campaigns, a team builder, a revenue generator. She had been somebody before Marcus. She could be somebody again. At 2 p.m., she arrived at the courthouse. Marcus was already there, haggard, pale, eyes red. When he saw her, he tried to stand, but Chin pulled him back. "Mrs. Thompson," Judge Martinez began, "I understand your husband is claiming you're not mentally competent to make major financial decisions. How do you respond?" Keisha stood, poised in her best business suit, hair pulled back. She looked every inch the successful businesswoman she once was. "Your Honor," she said, "I've never been more mentally competent in my life. For 8 years, I allowed my husband to make all our major decisions. I trusted him completely, and he betrayed that trust. Deciding to leave him and protect my financial interests was the smartest decision I've ever made." Mrs. Thompson, can you explain the business transaction your husband is disputing? 6 months ago, my husband asked me to sign a partnership agreement giving me equal authority over business decisions. I advised him to read the fine print and have his lawyer review it. He refused, saying he trusted me. When I discovered his affair last week, I exercised my legal rights under that agreement. Judge Martinez reviewed Sarah's documents. "Mr. Chin, do you have evidence your client was coerced or deceived?" Chin hesitated. "No, Your Honor. My client was manipulated by a woman who planned to destroy him from the beginning." "Do you have evidence of this planning from 6 months ago?" "No, Your Honor." "Mrs. Thompson, do you have evidence you advised your husband to review the agreement carefully?" Sarah handed the judge a stack of papers, testimony from 3 witnesses confirming Keisha's advice. The judge looked at Marcus. "Mr. Thompson, why didn't you read the agreement before signing it?" Marcus stood, shakily. "I trusted my wife, Your Honor. I never thought she would use it against me." "But she advised you to read it?" "Yes, and you chose not to follow that advice?" "Yes." Judge Martinez closed the file. Motion denied. Mrs. Thompson appears fully competent and acting within her legal rights. The divorce proceedings will continue as scheduled. Marcus slumped. Chin whispered something, likely about a long war ahead. Leaving the courtroom, Marcus tried to approach her. "Keisha, please, can we just talk for 5 minutes? Away from the lawyers, just you and me." She looked at him. He was so desperate, so broken. A part of her almost felt pity. Almost. There's nothing to talk about, Marcus. You made your choice when you decided to cheat on me. Now you get to live with the consequences. It was a mistake. People make mistakes. A mistake is forgetting milk. A mistake is being late. Having an affair for over a year, lying every day, is not a mistake. It's a choice. I love you. No, you don't. You love having someone take care of you, someone to make your life easier, someone who never questions or challenges you. But you don't love me. Because if you did, you never could have hurt me the way you did. She walked away, his calls echoing behind her. She was done looking back. That evening, James Hartwell called. The merger is complete. Thompson Industries no longer exists as an independent company. All employees have been offered positions with Hartwell Industries at their current salaries. What about Marcus? He's been offered a position as a junior marketing consultant, same level he started at 15 years ago. Keisha smiled. From company owner to junior consultant in one day. That would wound his pride more than losing the money. Will he take it? Probably not. Men like him don't handle going backwards well. What will he do? I have no idea. But that's not your problem anymore. He was right. Marcus's future wasn't her problem. She had her own life to rebuild. 8 years she had spent making his problems hers. That time was over. She spent the evening applying for jobs online, marketing positions, consulting work, nonprofit roles. She had forgotten the excitement of new possibilities, new challenges, new ways to use her skills. Her phone buzzed with a text from David Chin. My client would like to discuss a settlement. Are you willing to negotiate? She texted back. There's nothing to negotiate. He can have his personal belongings and half of whatever's left after business debts. Everything else is mine. That's not reasonable. He built that business. With my support. While I gave up my career to help him succeed, I earned every penny. He's willing to pay you alimony. I don't want his money every month for the rest of my life. I want my share now, so I can start over completely. A long pause. Then, he says he'll agree to your terms if you'll see him one more time, just to talk. Keisha stared at the message. A part of her was curious, wondered if he finally understood. But a bigger part knew it would be a mistake. Nothing he could say would change what he'd done. Nothing he could promise would ever be believed again. She typed back, No, the lawyers can handle everything from now on. Then she turned off her phone. Tomorrow, she would start building her new life. Tonight, she would sleep peacefully, knowing she had finally stood up for herself. 3 weeks later, Keisha landed her first job interview, marketing director at a nonprofit helping women start their own businesses. The irony was sweet, helping other women become independent while she rebuilt her own. The interview went well. Patricia Hayes, the director, was impressed. 8 years out of the workforce is a concern, Patricia said, but your previous experience is excellent, and frankly, we need someone with your expertise. I understand the concern, Keisha replied, but I've been studying current marketing trends, taking online courses, updating my skills. I'm ready to work hard and prove myself. Why this job? Why not corporate, where you'd make more money? Keisha considered carefully. Because I know what it's like to depend on someone else for everything. I know how dangerous it can be to give up your own power. If I can help other women avoid that mistake, my own experience will have been worth something. Patricia smiled. When can you start? The salary was less than half her old corporate pay, but it was enough. More importantly, it was hers. Money earned through her own work, her own skills, her own effort. She called Sarah Bennett with the good news. Congratulations, Sarah said. By the way, the divorce is almost final. Marcus has agreed to all your terms. Everything. He gets his personal belongings and half of what's left after business debts. You get the house, the cars, the investment accounts, and your share of the business sale. He also agreed to pay all court costs. What changed his mind? I think he finally realized he had no choice. David Chin probably told him he'd lose even more if he kept fighting. After they hung up, Keisha drove to the house she had shared with Marcus. She needed to pack her things, decide what to do with the rest. The house felt empty, cold, a museum of a life that no longer existed. She walked through each room, the kitchen where she'd cooked his favorite meals, the living room where they'd hosted parties, the bedroom where she'd believed they were building a life. It all felt like someone else's story now. In the master bedroom, a letter lay on her pillow. Marcus's handwriting. She almost threw it away, but curiosity got the better of her. "Keisha," it began, "I know you don't want to see or talk to me, but I had to write this. I had to try one more time to make you understand how sorry I am." She sat and read. 3 pages of apologies, explanations, pleas for another chance. He promised therapy, change, a lifetime of making it up to her. "I know you think I don't really love you," he wrote, "but you're wrong. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone. I was just too stupid and selfish to realize what I had until it was gone. Please give me one more chance to prove I can be the husband you deserve." Kesha read it twice. He sounded sincere, broken, desperate. For a moment, she almost felt bad. Then she remembered the security footage. Marcus and Tanya, kissing like teenagers, laughing in expensive restaurants while she waited at home, in hotel rooms while she planned charity events to make him look good. She tore the letter into pieces and threw it in the trash. Words were easy, promises were easy. Actions showed who people really were, and Marcus's actions had shown her everything. By evening, she had packed everything that mattered. It was less than she expected. 12 boxes, 8 years of marriage, and most of what she wanted fit into so little. The rest was just expensive things that were never truly hers. As she loaded the last box into her car, a familiar voice called, "Keisha, is that really you?" Mike Davidson, an old colleague, stood across the street, a little grayer, but otherwise the same. "Mike, what are you doing here?" "I live here now. Bought a house 6 months ago." He looked at her boxes. "Are you moving?" Something like that. She didn't want to explain. "I heard about Thompson Industries. That was some business deal. James Hartwell played it perfectly." Mike had no idea she orchestrated it all. To the outside world, it looked like a smart move by Hartwell. "Business is business," she said. "Yeah, I guess so. Hey, are you working anywhere these days? I remember you were brilliant at marketing. We could use someone with your skills." "Actually, I just got a job starting Monday." "That's great. Where at?" "Women's Business Development Center. I'm their new marketing director." Mike looked surprised. "That's a big step down from where you were. VP to director, corporate to nonprofit. You sure about that?" It was the question everyone would ask. Why was she settling for less? "I'm sure," she stated. "Sometimes starting over means starting smaller, but it also means starting honest." Mike nodded, though she doubted he fully understood. "Well, if you ever change your mind, give me a call. I'm VP of Marketing at Consolidated Systems now. We're always looking for talent." After he left, Keisha sat in her car, thinking. She could probably get her old life back, or something close. Status, respect, good pay. But she didn't want her old life. Her old life was built on someone else's success. Her new life would be built on her own foundation, brick by brick. She drove back to her apartment, unpacking, arranging furniture. It was small, but it was hers. Every choice, completely hers. Her phone rang at 9:00 p.m. An unknown number. She answered. "Keisha, this is Tanya." She almost hung up. "I'm calling from jail," Tanya quickly added. "I know you don't want to hear from me, but I had to call. I had to tell you how sorry I am." "Sorry doesn't change anything." "I know, but I need you to know I never meant for it to go as far as it did. It started as, I don't know, excitement, the thrill of doing something forbidden. I never meant to fall in love with him." Fall in love with him? So it hadn't just been physical, despite Marcus's lies. "You were my friend," Keisha said, her voice raw. "I trusted you. I welcomed you into my home. I know, I betrayed you in the worst possible way. I hate myself for it." "Good. You should." Tanya was crying now. "I've lost everything. My job, my freedom, my reputation. And Marcus won't even talk to me. He acts like I seduced him, like it was all my idea." "Wasn't it?" "No, he pursued me. He told me his marriage was over, that you two were just staying together for appearances. He said you didn't love him anymore, that you were cold and distant. He made me think I was saving him from a loveless marriage." Kesha felt a slap. He said I was cold and distant? Yes. He said you never talked to him, never showed affection. He said you were more like roommates. The lies were breathtaking. Kesha had loved Marcus completely, poured herself into him. If she had been distant lately, it was only because she sensed his deception. That's not true. None of that is true. I know that now. I can see how much you loved him by how hard you're fighting to hurt him back. A woman doesn't destroy someone's entire life unless they meant everything to her. Tanya was right. Kesha had gone after Marcus not out of hatred, but because his betrayal had nearly destroyed the love she had for him. I'm going to prison, Tanya continued, probably for 2 years. I've lost everything that mattered, but I deserved it. What I did to you was unforgivable. Yes, it was. Is there anything I can do? Any way I can make this right? No. The damage is done. Will you ever be able to forgive me? Kesha was honest. I don't know. Maybe someday, but not today. Not anytime soon. I understand. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry, and I wanted you to know the truth about how it started. Marcus lied to both of us. After Tanya hung up, Kesha sat in her quiet apartment. Marcus hadn't just cheated. He had actively poisoned her reputation to his lover, painting her as cold and unloving to justify his actions. He had rewritten their marriage narrative to cast himself as the victim. The call answered a nagging question. Did Marcus truly love Tanya? The truth was, he hadn't loved either of them. He loved his ego, the attention, being the center of two women's worlds. He only loved himself. The next morning, she started her new job. The Women's Business Development Center was a vibrant, modern space, buzzing with an energy that reminded her why she loved working. Patricia Hayes introduced her to the dedicated staff. We help about 200 women a year start their own businesses, Patricia explained. Your job will be to help them market themselves effectively. What's their biggest challenge? Confidence, mostly. Many have been out of the workforce or supporting someone else's dreams. They have great ideas, but they don't believe in themselves. Kesha nodded. She understood that challenge intimately. Her first client was Rosa Martinez, a woman who wanted to start a catering business. Rosa had been a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, until her husband left her for a younger woman. Now she needed to support herself and 3 children. I can cook, Rosa insisted, but I don't know anything about marketing or advertising. Tell me about your food, Kesha prompted. Rosa's face lit up. Traditional Mexican food, but with my own twist. Grandmother's recipes, updated for modern tastes. Healthier ingredients, beautiful presentation. Amazing! Have you cooked for anyone outside your family? I've cooked for church events for years. Everyone always asks for my recipes. Perfect. That's your starting point. Word of mouth from people who already love your food. They spent an hour crafting a basic marketing plan, social media, a simple website, business cards, practical, affordable steps. You really think I can do this? Rosa asked. I know you can. You have a product people want, a community that supports you, and the motivation to succeed. That's more than many businesses start with. As Rosa left, Kesha felt a purpose she hadn't known in years. Helping someone build something real, something that would support her family and give her independence. This was far more fulfilling than organizing charity events to burnish Marcus's image. At lunch, Sarah Bennett called. The divorce is officially final. Congratulations, you're a free woman. How do I feel about that? Kesha looked out at the busy street, people chasing dreams, making choices. I feel like myself again, she said. Good. You've got quite a settlement. After legal fees and business debts, you're walking away with about $2 million. $2 million. Enough to never work again if she were careful. Enough for a big house, expensive cars. I'm going to invest most of it, Kesha decided. Keep some for emergencies, but put the rest into index funds and forget about it. Smart. What about the house? Sell it. I don't want to live there anymore. Any regrets about how you handled this? Kesha considered it. Marcus's business was gone, reputation ruined, money diminished. Tanya was in prison. Her revenge was complete. No, she said. No regrets. They made their choices, and I made mine. That evening, she treated herself to dinner. Not for the money or the revenge, but for her freedom. Free from a marriage built on lies, free from a life that was never truly hers, free to make her own choices, her own mistakes, her own successes. She thought of Rosa and the dozens of other women she would help, women betrayed, abandoned, or simply forgotten, now ready to build something new, real, and entirely their own. Her phone buzzed. "I heard about the divorce. I'm sorry it didn't work out. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. Mike Davidson." She smiled and deleted the message. Mike was a nice man. Maybe someday she'd trust again, but not today. Today, she was perfectly happy being alone, independent, and in control of her own life. For the first time in 8 years, she was exactly where she belonged. 6 months into her new job, Kesha had helped 37 women launch their businesses, tracking each success story. Rosa Martinez's catering business was thriving, with 3 corporate clients, solid weekend bookings, 2 part-time employees, and plans for a commercial kitchen. "I never thought I could do this," Rosa had told her. "After my husband left, I felt so lost, but now I feel stronger than I ever have." Dazen. That feeling, watching women discover their strength, capabilities, and worth, was Kesha's greatest reward. It mirrored her own journey from broken wife to independent woman. The Women's Business Development Center flourished under her guidance, expanded programs, increased funding, twice as many women helped. Patricia gave Kesha much of the credit. "You have a gift for this," Patricia said. "You understand these women because you've been where they are." It was true. She understood the shock of waking up to a life built around someone else's dreams, the fear of starting over, the doubt, but also the incredible freedom of independence. The peace of knowing success or failure was entirely in her hands. Her personal life was quiet but fulfilling. Her small apartment, her simple routine, her meaningful work. She took painting classes, a dream deferred. She dated cautiously, coffee, dinners, nothing serious. She wasn't ready for more, maybe never would be. But it was nice to remember she was still attractive, interesting, capable of connection. Marcus had tried to contact her repeatedly, calls, texts, emails, even letters. She ignored them all. Nothing he could say would change anything. According to Sarah, he'd taken an entry-level job at a small marketing firm in another city, a complete career restart. The mighty had indeed fallen. Tanya was still in prison. Kesha rarely thought of her, but wondered if prison had taught her about consequences. On a Thursday evening in October, working late, Kesha's phone rang. An unrecognized number. Something compelled her to answer. "Kesha Williams." The voice was official. "Yes, this is Kesha." "This is Detective Parker. We met several months ago regarding the embezzlement case." "I remember. Is there a problem?" "Not exactly, but I wanted to give you some information. Marcus Thompson was arrested this afternoon." Kesha's stomach dropped. Despite everything, she didn't want Marcus in serious trouble. She just wanted him gone. "Arrested for what?" "Fraud. He's been running investment scams, taking money from elderly clients and using it for personal expenses. We've been investigating him for 3 months." "How much money?" "About $500,000 so far. Could be more." Kesha closed her eyes. Marcus had fallen from successful businessman to desperate criminal in less than a year. The fall was worse than she imagined. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because his lawyer is claiming his criminal behavior started after his divorce. He's using his mental state as a defense, saying the loss of his marriage drove him to make desperate choices." "That's ridiculous." "I agree. A man doesn't become a criminal overnight. But I wanted you to know in case his lawyer tries to contact you or subpoena you." After Parker hung up, Kesha sat in her empty office. Marcus wasn't just ruined. He was a criminal, stealing from old people. She felt sad, but not guilty. She hadn't made him a criminal. She had simply stopped protecting him from his own choices. If he chose crime, that was on him. Her phone buzzed. "Saw the news about Marcus. You okay?" Sarah Bennett. Kesha texted back, "I'm fine. Not my problem anymore." And she meant it. Marcus's problems were not her problems. His choices were not her responsibility. His future was not her concern. 8 years she had spent making his life easier. That time was over. The next morning, a small package lay on her desk. No return address, just her name. Inside, a cell phone with a note. One message. Please listen. She almost threw it away. She didn't want to hear from Marcus, didn't want his drama, but curiosity again. She turned on the phone, one voicemail. Marcus's voice, tired, defeated. "Keisha, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I'm probably going to prison, and this might be my last chance to tell you the truth about everything." She almost deleted it, but his voice held a fragile sincerity. "You were right about me. You were right about everything. I'm selfish and weak, and I never deserved you. But I need you to know that I did love you. I know my actions proved otherwise, but I did love you in the only way I knew how." A long pause. "The affair with Tanya started because I was scared that you were too good for me, scared that you would realize you deserved better and leave me. So, I sabotaged it first. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I destroyed the best thing in my life because I was afraid of losing it." Another pause. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. I'm not asking you to take me back. I know that ship has sailed. I just wanted you to know that losing you taught me what real love was supposed to look like. It was supposed to look like the way you loved me, completely, honestly, generously. I never loved you that way, and that's my biggest regret." The message continued, Marcus apologizing, explaining, taking responsibility. He sounded sincere, perhaps for the first time. "I hope you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. I hope you find someone who appreciates what a gift you are. I'm sorry it took losing you for me to realize what I had." The message ended. Keisha stared at the phone. It was the apology she had wanted months ago, the honesty she had needed. It was too late to change anything, but at least he understood now. She deleted the message and threw the phone in the trash. Then she got back to work, helping women build their own lives. That afternoon, she met Jennifer, a new client married for 12 years to a controlling man. Jennifer had finally left, but had no job skills, no money. "I feel so stupid," Jennifer confessed. "I have a college degree, but I haven't worked in over a decade. Who's going to hire me?" "You'd be surprised," Keisha said. "What did you study?" "Accounting. I was pretty good at it." "Perfect. Every small business needs help with their books. We can start you with part-time clients, build your confidence, and resume." "You really think I can do this?" Keisha looked at Jennifer and saw herself a year ago. "I know you can do this. A year ago, I was sitting where you are now, divorced, starting over, terrified. But here I am, and I'm happier than I've been in years. What happened to your ex-husband?" "He made some bad choices, and now he's facing the consequences. But that's not my story anymore. My story is about what I built after I left him." Jennifer smiled. "I like that. I want my story to be about what comes next, not what came before." "Exactly. The past is just information. It's not a prediction of the future." As Jennifer left, Keisha felt that familiar satisfaction. This was her calling, her purpose. She had been broken so she could heal, betrayed so she could trust herself, lost everything so she could discover what truly mattered. Her phone rang. Patricia's voice was excited. "Keisha, I just got off the phone with the Morrison Foundation. They want to fund a major expansion of our program, triple our budget, triple our staff, open satellite offices in 3 other cities." "That's incredible. What do they need from us?" "They want you to lead the expansion. They were impressed with your work, your results, your vision for women's economic independence." Keisha's heart raced. A chance to help thousands of women, to build something truly meaningful. "What would that mean for my position?" "You'd be the regional director, your own budget, staff, complete authority." "I need some time to think." "Of course, but Keisha, this is your chance to build something amazing, something that will outlast all of us." That night, Keisha considered the offer. Regional director, her own programs. A year ago, she was a jobless housewife. Now, this. She thought of Marcus, in jail, facing consequences. Tanya, serving time. The ripple effect of their selfishness. Then she thought of Rosa, now running a successful catering business. Jennifer, soon to be an independent accountant. All the women she could help. She picked up her phone. "I'll take it," she told Patricia. "When do we start?" The Morrison Foundation's headquarters occupied 3 floors of a downtown glass tower. Keisha, in her best suit, the one she wore to divorce Marcus, walked in. It felt appropriate, the outfit marking the end of her old life, now ushering in her new career. Margaret Morrison, the foundation's director, awaited her. "Keisha," Margaret said with a warm smile, "congratulations. We're thrilled to have you leading this expansion." "Thank you. I'm excited." "Before details, I want you to know why we chose you. Not just your work, though impressive. It was your story. You understand what it's like to start over from nothing. You understand what these women are going through." Keisha nodded. Her divorce and career restart had become part of her professional identity, a qualification rather than an embarrassment. "Our research shows women out of the workforce face unique challenges," Margaret continued. "They need more than business training. They need to rebuild confidence, self-worth, belief they can succeed." "That's exactly what I want to focus on," Keisha affirmed. "Practical skills are important, but emotional support makes the difference." They spent 2 hours on expansion plans: Atlanta, Nashville, Jacksonville. Staffing, programs, partnerships. More responsibility than Keisha had ever had. "You'll have complete authority over program design," Margaret explained. "We believe in giving our directors freedom to innovate." "What about accountability? How will you measure success?" "Number of women served, businesses launched, income increases, but also less tangible things. Confidence surveys, long-term success tracking." Keisha's head swam with possibilities. Programs for divorced women, single mothers, abuse survivors, partnerships with legal aid, shelters, colleges. She could build something that would help thousands reclaim their lives. Leaving the foundation, her phone rang. Sarah Bennett. "How did the meeting go?" "Better than I hoped. They're giving me everything I asked for and more." "Congratulations, you've come a long way from the broken woman who walked into my office a year ago." "Was I really that broken?" "You were hurt and angry and determined to get revenge, but you weren't broken. Broken women don't fight back the way you did." After they hung up, Keisha drove to her old neighborhood, not to Marcus's house, but to the coffee shop where she used to sit, a housewife with too much time and too little purpose. The barista, Maria, remembered her. "Keisha, haven't seen you in forever. How are you?" "I'm good, Maria. Really good. Different, but good." "You look different. Happier. More like yourself, if that makes sense." It made perfect sense. She was more herself than she'd been in years. The woman she would have become if she had never given up her dreams for someone else's. She ordered her usual latte, sat at her old table, remembering the emptiness despite having everything she was supposed to want. Now she knew why. She had been living someone else's life, defining herself through someone else's success. A supporting character in her own story. Her phone buzzed. "Saw the news about your promotion. Congratulations. You deserve all the success in the world." Signed M. Marcus, reaching out from prison, still trying to connect. She rolled her eyes, deleted it. His opinion was irrelevant. His approval meant nothing. She built this new life without him, and she would continue building it without a second thought for him. That evening, she called Carmen. "Regional Director," Carmen shrieked. "Girl, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you." "I still can't believe it's real. A year ago, I was an unemployed divorcee with no prospects. A year ago, you were a woman who had just discovered her own strength. This is just the natural result of that discovery. I keep thinking about all the women I'll be able to help. Women in situations like mine who need someone to show them that starting over is possible. You're going to change so many lives." "I hope so. I want my experience with Marcus to mean something. I want all that pain to have served a purpose." "It already has. Look at who you've become." After hanging up, Keisha researched the cities for her new offices. Atlanta's thriving business, Nashville's entrepreneurs, Jacksonville's diverse population. Each city would need a unique approach, unique partnerships. It would be like starting 4 new businesses at once, all dedicated to helping women. The irony was profound. She was becoming the successful businesswoman she had been, but with a mission born directly from losing everything and starting over. She was turning her biggest failure into her greatest success. Her phone rang at 9:00 p.m. Patricia. "I know it's late, but Rosa Martinez just got a contract to cater the mayor's inaugural dinner, $50,000. She called me crying. A year ago, she was broke and scared. Now she's running a business generating more income than her ex-husband ever provided." How does she feel? She feels powerful, like she can handle anything. That was the feeling Keisha wanted to give every woman. Not just financial, but emotional independence, the confidence to care for oneself, no matter what. There's something else, Patricia added. Rosa wants to expand, thinking about a restaurant. She asked if you could help with the business plan. Of course, I'd love to help her take the next step. She also said something interesting. She said watching you rebuild your life gave her the courage to rebuild hers. If you could start over after 8 years, she could after 15. Tears pricked Keisha's eyes. She had never considered her journey an inspiration. I'm putting that in the marketing materials for the new program, she said. Stories of women who rebuilt their lives, found their strength, discovered they were capable of more. That's powerful. The next morning, Keisha went for a run, a new post-divorce ritual to clear her head. She thought about Rosa, inspired by her story. How many others could be inspired? She decided to start a blog, nothing fancy, just honest posts about rebuilding life after divorce, betrayal, discovering who you truly are. Practical things, emotional journeys, anger, fear, gradual discovery of capabilities. Home from her run, she opened her laptop. 1 year ago, I discovered my husband of 8 years was having an affair with my best friend. Today, I was promoted to regional director of a program that helps women achieve economic independence. This is the story of what happened in between. She wrote for 2 hours. The footage, the divorce, the business sale, the job search, the rebuilding of confidence. She wrote about realizing she wasn't a victim, but a survivor. About the difference between revenge and justice, getting even and getting ahead. Most importantly, she wrote about how losing everything could be the beginning of gaining everything that truly mattered. She published it. Within an hour, the post had 50 shares. Within a day, 500. Women commented with their own stories of betrayal, rebuilding, finding strength. One comment stood out. I'm sitting in my lawyer's office right now, about to file for divorce. I'm terrified of starting over at 45. Your story gives me hope that I can do this. Keisha smiled, typed back, You can absolutely do this. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Feel free to reach out if you need encouragement. That's how it started. One blog post, one honest story, one woman sharing her experience, reaching others who needed to know that starting over was possible. Within a month, emails poured in from across the country. Within 3 months, she was speaking at conferences on divorce recovery and career rebuilding. Her personal story had become her professional mission, her betrayal, a tool to help others. Her worst experience, her greatest strength. 2 years after her divorce, Keisha stood before 500 women at the National Women's Economic Conference in Chicago, the keynote speaker on resilience, rebuilding, and economic independence. 2 years ago, she began, I was a housewife whose entire identity was built around my husband's success. I had given up my career, my financial independence, my sense of self-worth to support his dreams. When I discovered his affair, I felt like my world had ended. The audience hung on every word. But I was wrong. My world hadn't ended. It had just begun. Because for the first time in 8 years, I was forced to remember who I was before I became someone's wife. I was forced to rediscover my own strength, my own capabilities, my own worth. She clicked to the next slide. Program statistics. In the past 18 months, our program has helped over 2,200 women start their own businesses. Average income increase for participants, 68%. More importantly, 94% report feeling more confident and in control of their lives. Thunderous applause. Keisha felt the familiar rush of power, but this was better. This was about building up, not just profits. After her speech, women flocked to her, sharing stories. Divorce survivors, single mothers, abuse victims. One woman, Keisha's age, approached with tears. I read your blog post. It saved my life. I was so depressed after my divorce, considering ending it all. But reading your story made me realize my life could still have meaning. What did you do? Keisha asked. I went back to school to become a nurse. I graduate next month. I have a job at the Children's Hospital. That's incredible. You should be so proud. I am. For the first time, I'm proud of who I am and what I've accomplished. These were the moments that made everything worthwhile. Not promotions or salary, but individual women finding strength, rebuilding lives. That evening, dinner with Margaret Morrison and Foundation board members. They discussed national expansion, 50 offices in 25 states over 5 years. We want you to lead the entire initiative. That's a huge undertaking. It is, but you've proven you can do it. The regional program exceeded every expectation. Keisha thought about it. National director, constant travel, managing hundreds, impacting tens of thousands, less direct client contact. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Why is this so important to you personally?" Margaret smiled. "Because I was where you were once. Married young to a man who controlled everything. I was lucky. He died when I was 35, and I inherited his business. But if he hadn't died, I would have lived my entire life as his dependent." "How did you build your own success?" "The same way you did, one decision at a time. But I had advantages you didn't have: money, connections, a business to take over. Most women don't. They need programs like ours." "What about your personal life? Did you ever remarry?" "I did, eventually. But the second time, I chose a partner instead of a master, someone who respected my independence." After dinner, Keisha walked through downtown Chicago, considering Margaret's story and the offer. National director, the culmination of everything since her divorce. But also, immense responsibility. Her phone buzzed. Rosa Martinez. "Saw your speech online. You were amazing. Restaurant opens next month. None of this would have happened without you." Keisha smiled, texted back, "It all happened because of your hard work. I just helped you see what was already there. Will you come to the opening?" "I wouldn't miss it." Rosa's success was one of dozens Keisha carried with her, proof that betrayal and loss weren't the end, but the beginning. The next morning, she flew home, went straight to the office, meeting with Jennifer, her former client. Jennifer now ran her own bookkeeping service, 12 clients, more money than ever. "I have something to tell you," Jennifer said. "I'm getting married again." Keisha felt a flicker of concern. So many women fell back into old patterns. "Tell me about him," she said carefully. "His name is David, teacher at my daughter's school. We've been dating 6 months and he's different. He respects what I've built, proud of my business, never tries to make decisions for me." "How does he feel about your independence?" "He loves it. Says he fell in love with my strength, not my vulnerability. He wants to support what I built, not replace it." Keisha smiled. This was healthy love. Not rescue, not control, but appreciation of strength. "What did you learn from your first marriage that you're applying?" "That I'm not responsible for making someone else happy. That I can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed, and that I should never, ever give up my financial independence for anyone." "Good. Those are hard-learned lessons." "They are, but the most important lessons. My first husband wanted a dependent wife. David wants an equal partner." After Jennifer left, Keisha reflected. Jennifer had learned, found a healthy relationship. Would Keisha ever trust completely again? She'd dated, but nothing serious. Was she too damaged, too protective? Her assistant knocked. "Someone here to see you, old colleague from your corporate days." Mike Davidson, the same Mike from the move, but more confident, successful. "Mike, what brings you here?" "In town for a meeting, saw your name in the paper, the article about your speech. Had to congratulate you." "Thank you. How's your job?" "Actually, I quit Consolidated Systems 6 months ago, started my own consulting firm." "Really? What made you go independent?" Mike sat. "Honestly, reading your blog, your post about rebuilding your career after divorce, got me thinking about what I really wanted." "You're divorced?" 2 years ago. My ex-wife decided she wanted someone with more money and less dedication to his work. Turns out she was having an affair with her personal trainer." Keisha winced. "I'm sorry. That's painful." "It was, but like you wrote, sometimes losing everything is the beginning of gaining everything that really matters." They talked for an hour about business, starting over, the strange freedom of having your worst fears realized and surviving. "Would you like to have dinner sometime?" Mike asked. "Not a date, necessarily, just 2 people who understand rebuilding from scratch." Keisha hesitated. She was cautious, protective of her independence, but Mike was honest, relatable. "I'd like that," she said. "But I should warn you. I'm not looking for someone to take care of me or rescue me. I'm pretty happy with my independent life." Mike smiled. "Good. I'm not looking for someone to take care of either. I'm looking for someone who can take care of herself." That evening, Keisha called Margaret Morrison to accept the national director position. "I want to do this," she said. "I want to help as many women as possible discover their own strength." "Excellent. When can you start?" "Give me 2 months." "Perfect. Keisha, you're about to change thousands of lives." "I hope so. I know what it feels like to think your life is over and then discover it's just beginning." After they hung up, Keisha sat on her couch, looking at the life she had built from nothing. Not the life she planned with Marcus. Better. Her own career, success, purpose. She had helped hundreds find strength, turned her worst experience into her greatest achievement. Her phone buzzed. Email. Subject, from Marcus Thompson. Her heart skipped. She almost deleted it, but she opened it. "Keisha, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that I saw your speech online. I wanted you to know how proud I am of what you've accomplished." She rolled her eyes. His pride was meaningless. "I'm getting out of prison next month. I've been in therapy, working on understanding why I made the choices I made. I know now that I was a narcissist who used people instead of loving them. I know now that I destroyed the best thing in my life because I was too selfish to appreciate what I had." The email continued, apologies, therapy insights, responsibility. Sincere, but sincerity was easy when facing consequences. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. I'm not asking for another chance. I know that ship has sailed. I just wanted you to know that losing you taught me what real love looks like. It looks like the way you loved me, completely, honestly, generously. I never loved you that way, and that's my biggest regret." He ended, "I hope you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. I hope you find someone who appreciates what a gift you are. I'm sorry it took losing you for me to realize what I had." Keisha read it twice, then deleted it. His insights, his regrets, too little, too late. She no longer needed his apology or understanding, but there was satisfaction in knowing he finally understood. Justice, that his biggest regret was not appreciating her. She thought about Mike's dinner invitation, Margaret's job offer, the possibilities. The woman she had become, strong, independent, purposeful. Marcus tried to break her, but he freed her. His betrayal forced her to remember who she was. His lies taught her to trust herself. His selfishness showed her real love. She was grateful for it all now. Grateful for the pain that strengthened her, the loss that showed her what mattered, the betrayal that set her free. Tomorrow she would plan the national expansion. Next week, dinner with a man who appreciated her independence. But tonight, in her small, wholly hers apartment, surrounded by the life she built, she felt proud of everything she had survived, everything she had become. She had won, not through destruction or revenge, though those were part of it. She won because she discovered she didn't need anyone else to make her whole. She was complete all by herself. That was the most satisfying victory of all. 5 years after her divorce, Keisha stood in a ballroom, surrounded by 300 women, celebrating the 5th Annual Women's Independence Awards. The event had grown into a national celebration. Tonight, Rosa Martinez received the Entrepreneur of the Year award. Her restaurant had expanded to 3 locations, employed 47 people, and she was opening a culinary school. 5 years ago, I was a broke single mother who thought my life was over, Rosa said in her speech. Tonight, I'm standing here as proof that it's never too late to start over. It's never too late to chase your dreams, and it's never too late to build the life you deserve. The applause was thunderous. Keisha felt tears. She felt them every time a woman transformed her life. As national director, Keisha oversaw 43 offices in 26 states. Her programs had helped over 8,000 women start businesses, find careers, achieve financial independence. The success rate was unprecedented. But numbers were just numbers. What mattered were the individual stories. Women like Rosa, like Jennifer, like hundreds of others who found their strength. After the ceremony, Keisha mingled. Every woman there had overcome something: divorce, abuse, addiction, poverty, discrimination. Every woman was proof that starting over was possible, at any age, any circumstance. Keisha! She turned to Dr. Sarah Kim, a program graduate who became a successful pediatrician after her divorce. I wanted to thank you again for everything. I didn't do anything. You did all the work. You showed me it was possible. When I was 45 and felt it was too late for medical school, you made me believe. How's the practice? Better than I imagined. Opening a second clinic next year for low-income families. I want to give back the way you gave to me. This was the ripple effect Keisha loved most. Women helped by the program, now helping others. As the evening wound down, Keisha stepped outside. The hotel was near her old corporate building, visible in the distance. "Quite a view," said a familiar voice. Mike Davidson. They had been dating for 2 years now, a slow, careful relationship built on mutual respect and shared experience. Mike understood her need for independence because he valued his own. "How was your business trip?" she asked. "Successful. Landed 3 new clients. How was the ceremony?" "Perfect." Rose's speech made everyone cry. Mike put his arm around her. She leaned into him. It had taken a long time to trust this physical affection, to believe someone could touch her without trying to control her. "I have something to tell you," Mike said. "My ex-wife called me yesterday." Keisha tensed. Mike's ex-wife had left him for another man, much like Marcus had left Keisha emotionally. What did she want? "She's getting divorced again. The personal trainer was a serial cheater. She wanted to know if we could try again." "What did you tell her?" "I told her I'm in love with someone else, someone who makes me a better person instead of making me feel small." Keisha smiled. "Good answer." "She asked if you were the rebound. I told her you were the real relationship. She was the practice round." They stood in comfortable silence. Keisha thought how different this felt from Marcus. With Marcus, she performed. With Mike, she was just herself. "I've been thinking about something," Mike said. "About us?" "What about us? We've been together 2 years, financially independent, emotionally healthy, completely honest. We've both proven we can take care of ourselves." "True." "So, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking care of each other, not because we need to, but because we want to." Keisha looked at him. "Are you asking what I think you're asking?" Mike pulled out a small velvet box. "I'm asking if you'd like to be partners in business and in life. Equal partners, equal say. 2 independent people choosing to build something together." Keisha stared, heart racing. She never thought she'd want to marry again. But this felt different. 2 complete people choosing to share their completeness, not 2 broken people trying to fix each other. What would that look like? "Marriage between 2 people who refuse to give up their independence," Mike said honestly. "We'd figure it out. Separate bank accounts, shared decisions, equal responsibility. Neither of us giving up careers or dreams. Children? If we want them, we'll share that responsibility equally. If not, that's okay too." Keisha thought of Jennifer, Margaret, all the women she'd counseled. She'd always told them the right person appreciates strength, not diminishes it. Maybe it was time to take her own advice. "Ask me properly," she said. Mike knelt, opening the box. A simple diamond ring. "Keisha Williams," he said, "will you marry me? Will you be my equal partner in everything? Will you help me build a life that makes both of us better people?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Yes, I will." As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Keisha thought of her journey. The betrayal that broke her, the divorce that freed her, the career that gave her purpose, the program that helped others, all necessary. All leading her to this moment, this man who loved her strength. Her phone buzzed. Carmen. "Saw the live stream of the awards. You looked amazing. So proud." Keisha texted back, "Just got engaged to someone who loves me for who I am, not who he wants me to be." Carmen's immediate reply, "Finally! Can't wait to meet him. When's the wedding?" "We haven't discussed that yet, but it'll be small. Just family and close friends. No big production." "As long as you're happy." "I'm happier than I've ever been." Not because she was marrying, but because she was marrying someone who appreciated the woman she had become. Someone who saw her at her strongest, most independent, and loved exactly that. 6 months later, A small wedding in the garden behind the Women's Business Development Center. Rosa catered. Jennifer did the accounting. Margaret toasted the power of love between equals. Marcus wasn't invited. He was out of prison, working as a car salesman in another state. Tanya was released after 18 months, also moved away. Keisha wanted it that way. In her vows, Keisha promised to be Mike's partner, never his dependent. To support his dreams, never abandon her own. To love him for who he was. Mike promised to celebrate her independence, not control it. To be her soft place to land, not her crutch. To build a life with her, not for her. Dancing their first song, Mike whispered, "Thank you for showing me what real love looks like." "Thank you for being worthy of it," she whispered back. As the evening wound down, Keisha stood in the garden where she once felt lost. Now, surrounded by friends, celebrating a marriage built on equality, looking forward to a future full of possibilities. Her blog chimed with a new comment. "I'm reading this at 2:00 a.m. after finding out about my husband's affair. I feel like my world is ending. Tell me it gets better." Keisha smiled, typed back, "It gets so much better than you can possibly imagine right now. Not because you'll get revenge, or because he'll realize what he lost. It gets better because you'll discover who you really are when you're not defining yourself through someone else's life. You'll discover you're stronger than you think, more capable than you know, and more deserving of real love than you ever believed. The pain you're feeling right now is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your real story. Trust me on this." She posted the response and put her phone away. Tomorrow, she would go back to helping women rebuild their lives, continuing to build a national program changing thousands of lives. But tonight, she would dance with her husband in the garden, celebrating the hard-earned truth. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find everything that really matters. She had won, not by destroying Marcus or getting revenge, but by discovering her own completeness. That discovery made her capable of real love with someone who celebrated her whole self. She had turned her worst betrayal into her greatest strength, her deepest pain into her most meaningful purpose, her biggest loss into her most important victory. She had won because she learned the best revenge against someone who tries to make you small is to become everything you were meant to be. And she had become everything.